and welcome to another edition of Idea Exchange. The recent spate of bomb blasts across the country has unnerved industry, and real estate sector is the worst victim of these terrorist attacks. More so because nerve centers of business like Bangalore and Ahmedabad can see an exodus of people, even as people from other states might be very reluctant to settle down in these cities. To discuss this and various other domestic issues, we have with us Mr. Jayashankar, B.M. Jayashankar, Chairman and Managing Director of Adarsh Group, who is also a past president of CREDAI Karnataka. Welcome to the show, Mr. Jayashankar.
Thank you, Mr.
To begin with, let me ask you, what are the issues related to security when it comes to real estate? I guess because most of the industry also feels that if there are repeated attacks of terrorists, then the people might move out of such places. And that could have a bearing on the real estate because the real estate mostly depends on the commercial as well as residential places to be sold to these people who come and settle down in these cities.
Yes. See, the whole of India, we are used to these kind of attacks. And of course, South India was
Immune to all these.
Yeah, was
till very late.
Yeah. So the whole of India is immune to all this. Of course, South India, so far, there was no such attack. But this is the first time happening in Bangalore. I am sure people will be courageous enough to take it. And that too, if you take real estate industry, if you take apartment complexes, then gated communities, commercial SEZs, tech parks, etc., we do have a foolproof security arrangement. Each project will have security guards and the latest that security gadgets, etc. And except the residents, I am sure all the apartment complexes and all other establishments will not allow any unknown visitor to enter without scrutinizing him. So that being the case, I don't see any threat as far as Bangalore is concerned.
But Mr. Jayashankar, if people feel reluctant to come to stay in a city like this, it's not because of the residential places, but because the workplaces become dangerous, then obviously that will have an effect on residential as well as commercial spaces, isn't it? Because most of these townships today which are built around this concept that there should be a SEZ very nearby or a large workforce nearby who would buy these places.
Yes. You see, again, if you take smaller developments, if you take the open layouts where anybody can drive through, anybody can walk in, only those places will be vulnerable. Whereas I am sure even if you take a small project of 12-15 apartments, we do have proper security. All the builders are following this. That's why people are moving from these kind of individual houses to apartments, then gated communities, etc.
Now, that means the security provided in a township and villas would be more preferred by people than individual apartments.
Definitely. See, for example, we have one gated community called Palm Meadows. Nobody can enter, without prior appointment and without proper scrutiny. Nobody will be allowed inside. So that being the case, all these residential developments, whether tech parks, SEZs, I will come to that later, all these projects are fully safe. There will be no threat, and any kind of terrorism cannot take place because always this security will be vigilant in these projects.
And what kind of security measures do residential apartments or residential real estate spaces demand when it is compared to the commercial spaces?
So normally security guards, that is the most common say demand. Then nowadays, in addition to that, we'll have that is CCTV, you know, the camera, CCTV, then we'll have intercom facility from all the apartments and villas to the main gate, and they will always check whether, you know, this person has an appointment like that, and only with the permission of the resident he will be allowed in. Again, by sometimes by checking the vehicle, that is important. I'm sure now I think most of us will start checking the vehicles also.
Recently, when we were talking to a real estate developer, he compared the situation in the developed countries and India, where he said that individual apartments as well as bungalows are more susceptible because there in the foreign countries, the security system provided by the state, essentially, which means the police, are quick to respond. So there is not so much of a demand on private security, and people find it more safe. But in India, the situation across the country is very poor when it comes to the policing. So that's also why most of these individual bungalows are very difficult to sell in such places where there are attacks. You agree to that?
I don't agree to that. The fact being, in developed countries, if you take any gated community, it's not called as gated communities there because all the roads are open. Public can enter any street, any development like that, whether it is apartments or villas like that. That being the case, in developed countries it is vulnerable, but no doubt they have this quick response. If anything untoward happens, immediately police will take action. There will be immediate action on that. But here, I tell you, in gated communities, especially if you take all these gated communities, nobody will be allowed to enter inside. That being the case, absolutely they are all safe. There is no question of terrorist attack within the compound of this.
What about SEZs? How do you compare security in SEZs versus other industrial?
Yes. You see, by way of necessity, we are doing security for all other general projects like apartments, villas, tech parks. If you take SEZ, there is a stringent requirement by the SEZ authorities that nobody will be allowed inside. We will have to issue prior passes by fully scrutinizing, and it's very strict. The rules are very strict, and SEZs are much safer than tech parks.
Very true. Now, is it also not a trend that after the event people get more vigilant? For instance, just after the bomb blast, everybody is up on the vigil, but within a few days, the guards are down. Don't you think we should change on that aspect?
Definitely. All of us will be more vigilant now after this incident, but we should not allow it to diffuse after few months or few days. I think we must continue this kind of very tight security system in all our projects, whether it is SEZ, tech park, residential.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's not just security that we are dealing with today. We have a lot many other issues to talk about. So just hold your thought on that, and we'll come to the next segment. We'll take a break now. Don't go away.